my name is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and liked it, then subscribe, bell notification, and thumbs up the video. So, something that is probably the most painful thing to do. Well, that's dramatic, considering what the world did in 2019. My top 15 of the year. I was trying to figure out how many I wanted to do. We did a top 10 list for the TBR and Beyond group, and then like my list got thrown into disarray because I read books in December that got put on it, and then I didn't know what to pull out. So I was like, okay, maybe I should just expand it to 19. But then I got to it was just a chaos. So I capped myself at 15, okay? Seems like a reasonable-ish number, I think. And these are ranked, but like, boy, that was hard. So like, if I changed my mind, I changed my mind. But these were all fantastic reads, and honorable mentions that almost made it onto here but didn't. A Treason of Thorns by Laura Weymouth, The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shaw, that was a fantastic read, and just everything that BTS released, because that's music and this doesn't count. Whatever. Anyways, these are my top 15 reads. I guess I'll go from 15 to 1. So 15 is going to All the Bad Apples by Moira Fowler Doyle. I think this is an incredibly important book to be reading about abortion rights, the role that women have always played in like being basically baby incubators at men's wishes, and the role a lot of the time that religious institutions have played in governments that are supposed to now be secular, but aren't, because we still have these rules there that were like, oh, well, it's because of, like, womanly protection and all this. It's all crap that's tied to religion. It's always religion. And this is an easy read, trigger warning for a off-page sexual assault, but it's, I don't know if it's off-page, it's not described in detail, but, like, anyways, but it happens in there. It's hard to read, but I think it's a really important read. Onto the aesthetics. I don't know that I don't hate, I just don't love the US cover. I don't quite get it. Like, I've read it now and I just don't get it. However, I love the UK cover. It has the pinks and the oranges and the silvers, and all of this stuff makes sense once you've read it. It's got multiple timelines. It just has everything that I really love, and I think it's got a really important message. Number 14 is going to The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. I was told to read that this year, actually, by my friend Melanie, and I'm kind of glad she pushed me and forced me to do it. Don't tell her. This was a fantastic read. I listened along with the audiobook. The audiobook is amazing. I've already spoken about that in a different video that's either been scheduled or is likely to be scheduled to go up soon. I read the first book in the Darkest Mind series by Alexandra Bracken. It was okay. This is very different from that. We have a middle grade, and it's a more contemporary with a little bit of fantasy and a family lineage thing and this weird, like, demon thing going on. It's fantastic. I'm so excited to read book 2. I hope I can eventually get my own finished copy of this, because I only have an ARC right now. But The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Yanoff. This is, I had been kind of, I don't know, losing faith, but I feel like I've just seen so many books that are historical adults, which I'm trying to get more to reading a bit more adult stuff, but I find fantasy is just a little too high for me right now in adults. So I've been leaning into the adult history, and I've just been so disappointed time and time again by these books that are like everywhere, that I read and I'm just like, it's not deserving of the praise or the sales that it's got. There's just, no, I feel bad calling this out, but like Kate Quinn, The Alice Network was an incredibly boring book to me. I didn't understand how it got as much praise as it did. Nothing happens. And I tried her other books too, and I'm like, I just don't like her writing too, apparently. And even when I look at books like I've read, I think it's The Tattooist of Auschwitz. It wasn't a bad book by any means. I don't think it's deserving to be on the New York Times bestselling list for like a year though. So I just feel like I've been disappointed by a lot of these World War II books especially, but this was blurbed and handed out at a Dewey Diva session that I was at, so I grabbed it and I'm so glad that I did. I haven't read The Author's and Orphan's Tale, but it was on my list of books to get to in 2020. The timelines in this are amazing. The different stories of the women and how they end up being intertwined are kind of heartbreaking, honestly, but it's done so beautifully. I loved all the characters so much. And I think when I read this, I was like, this is amazing. And then I went and tried The Huntress, another book by Kate Quinn, and I was like, this didn't have it. Like, why is adult history doing this to me? But The Lost Girls of Paris just had everything I wanted and needed, and it had payoff. It doesn't have to be like everyone dies at the end of World War II, but there has to be a point to it all. And the characters were all so fleshed out, and unique, but it made sense how they work together. I didn't see exactly at the beginning, so I was like guessing the whole kind of way of like, okay, why do we have all these different timelines the whole time? And then when it all wrapped up, I was kind of heartbroken, but it's just fantastic. I would really, really highly recommend this book so much, and I really want to get my own physical copy, but I don't think I'll ever be letting this arc go. Spot number 12 is going to The Women's War by Jenna Glass. I knew this was going to be on my list. I just didn't know where the heck to put it, honestly. I read the book through the library, my physical copy, and loved it so much, and then I found out they had a cover change, and I was like, oh my god! And like the day I found out they had a cover change was like the day that the new cover for this came out, and then they released the second book's cover. This book was... It was blurbed at quite a few different places as like #resistance, #MeToo, and I was like, if we go into this and do the whole man-hating thing, I'm just going to be really annoyed. And we don't. It was so wonderful. The magic is so cool. It's so untouched, but and it is vague, but it's not to the point where like you can't understand anything that's going on. It's because they themselves don't know what's going on, so you're learning with everyone. It was so good. It's not necessarily an easy read. There's a lot of male violence, especially towards women, and looking down on sex workers, which is definitely challenged and not in any way promoted. And then we have these men who start switching over to help these women. And I'm so curious because the sequel's called The Queen of the Unwanted. So with the whole like building the magical like well that happens in this book, I'm so curious about this, but it had everything that I was hoping it would. And we didn't turn into this whole, like, preachy thing, and we didn't turn into this whole man-hatey thing, and it wasn't, like, a men versus women sort of thing. It was all about this equality. So I'm insanely curious to see where the next one goes, and I'm definitely going to reread this and then read the other one, like, probably back-to-back. Spot number 11 is going to Dry by Niall Schusterman. This doesn't surprise me, because, like, Niall Schusterman messes with me an awful lot. Just emotionally, like, I'm scared to read The Toll, honestly, but, like, it's a standalone with his brother, actually, which I thought was really interesting. Oh my god, I was just doing the tag yesterday, and I was like, is there a book that I have that has more than one author? And I was like, no, I don't have anything other than Illuminae or My Lady Jane. And Schusterman is, like, literally my eyeline. It's probably because it says Schusterman on the side. Like, they both have the same last name. But anyways, that's good to know now. But do not read this book unless you have, like, a big-ass jug of water near you. It's set during a drought and then, like, a mass forest fire in California. And there's definitely some state conflicts going on. It's just really interesting, this whole cast. I'm kind of surprised when I look at the size of it, everything that happens in it. I remember specifically the scene. I don't know if I'll ever forget it, but, like, one of the states cuts off water supply to California, and California has had a drought. They have, like, no more water, so people just start having water. So right at the beginning, one of the families goes in, like, to Costco or whatever and grabs as much ice as they can, and puts it in their bathtub. And then, like, because, like, the sewage and everything isn't working, whatever, the parents tell the kids to, like, go clean the bathroom with these cleaning supplies, and the kid accidentally, like, knocks a thing of Clorox bleach into the bathtub that has all of their drinking water in it. And, like, I remember just literally, like, freezing and being like, oh my god. Like, I don't know why specifically that's just in my mind forever, but, like, that's an image I can... Maybe it's because I've seen, like, I have 2 younger brothers or whatever, but, like, I can just, like, see, like, the movie adaptation of this, of everyone being like, no, of, like, the powder of bleach just, like, falling into all the only drinking water. It's just, and then the whole forest fire thing. Just don't read this without a bunch of water near you. It will not in any way help you. And just, Niall Schusterman stuff always seems to be good. Spot number 10 is going to Lovely War by Julie Berry. I got this from the library because I just all of a sudden was like, I'm going to read Julie Berry's stuff, and I hadn't read her stuff before. But I definitely want to get my own copy of this, and I'm hoping I got a gift card from my wonderful sister for the holidays. So for Indigo, so I'm hoping when I go to Ontario that I can find it in store, because I talked about this before, but Indigo Online has been a hot mess to order through, so I'd rather just give the stores themselves the sales and know that I can physically have the book in my hands. So, I want to get that book. Lovely War is... kind of came out of left field for me, but we have kind of 2 perspectives, that we have Aphrodite and her gods going through sort of court case that runs kind of themes and timeline and actions in parallel with essentially these 2 couples that are in active war zone France during World War II. And then we take on the whole, like, interracial relationships and segregated military barracks, and just treatment, and then, like, the recreational workers and what it's like living in these active war zones, and romances at the time, and it's a really interesting read, and I think for, like, World War II, it's, like, I guess some people could look at it as anticlimactic, but, like, I just loved the characters, which is a horrible thing to do. Don't fall in love with characters in active war zones. It never ends well, normally. So, I just adored this book so freaking much, and I wish more people talked about Julie Berry's stuff. I've really enjoyed everything that I've read by her so far. Spot number 9 is going to Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. For this being a debut especially, I was kind of blown away. I'm sure some of my hype is like how beautiful of a job that they did on the cover. Shout out to Wednesday Books. Like the end pages and then the underdesk jacket, like, let them fear her. I just knew that this had a lot of video game influences and was supposed to have a lot of Grisha influences. I read the arc and was like, oh my god! And then we had her in the TBR Beyond group, which was amazing. So I'm excited for Ruthless Gods especially, but I feel like for so long now, it feels like I have been going to the bookstore, and I always go to my bookstore and I'm like, so do you have anything new? They know what I like to read at this point, but I'm always like, I want something with either Russian or Eurasian of some capacity influences, generally a fantasy, and I want some queer diversity a lot of the time. I can't just do, I just can't enjoy books anymore that are like all white cast that's all straight. I just find those incredibly boring at this point. So, and every time I go in, I'm always like, do you have anything like this? Like, and they're always like, you've read everything. Like, I don't know what to tell you anymore. So it's been like that for a while. And then when I was in there, like a couple weeks after Wicked Saints had come out, I had already read the arc beforehand, and I had already gotten my pre-order copy. The girl came up to me, and she's like, oh my god, I have a book for you, finally. And she gave me Wicked Saints, and I was like, I know, I already read it. She got kind of upset at me. She's like, for freaking sakes, woman, we've been looking forever for you. So I just love everything about this book. My friend was like, it's a Grisha. It's like Darkling fan fiction. And I'm like, it has Darkling influences for sure. I feel like it has a lot. I know not everyone loves all of the cast from Shadow and Bone's original trilogy. Mal especially. But I feel like all of the characters in here are like, they're all likable for the most part. They may not be good characters, but they're all likable characters for what they are, whereas, like, I haven't heard anyone say anything like, I hated Mal so much, I wish he would die, like I have for Grisha. So I feel like it has definitely, like, the Russian influences, which Grisha also pulls on, but I feel like it makes its own having this, like, video game kind of pivot in themes, and having a lot more queer representation. I freaking loved it, honestly. I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited for Ruthless Gods. I really freaking struggled with where to put this book. I don't know that it's actually deserving to be as low as number 8, but Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This was my friend Felicia's redemption recommendation to me because she made me read Say You'll Remember Me. And I detested that book to holy hell. But she and quite a few other people recommended this to me. I am so excited for this, this book's existence. In a time where politically things aren't the way they are in the United States, the idea of having a woman of color advocating for health reformation and voter like fixing in the United States is like a dream. It's a wonderful break from the reality of the United States politics right now. Also, I know that it was optioned, film rights I think it was, before the book officially came out, or like right after it came out, and the idea of getting to see, I mean, it'd probably be too late by this point, but the idea of getting to see the President of the United States' son be in a relationship with another man who is a foreigner, while Mike Pence and Donald Trump sit in office, is probably the most glorious image I've ever, thought I've ever had in my mind. It's beautiful. I love it so much. But the book is hilarious. I've said this a few times, but there's this, specific line that I can never seem to, find it, but someone, makes some joke about, come on, Florida, you backyard shooting motherfuckers, or something like that. It's just, the comedy in it is just so good. There's a little bit of politics influences, and I like that the main character is, an advisor to his mom, and, he's very well-versed in all of the politics and everything going on. And it's just, in a world where everything, politically, the people who are in charge don't make any sense, because none of them are qualified individuals, for the most part. And then, literally everyone I talked to was like, they're a moron. And I'm like, who voted these people in, then, if no one agrees with anything they're doing? whatever it is. The book is fantastic. I love the representation in it. I love the sexy times. I love the ending. This was an incredibly impressive, just book in general. Yeah. I'm so excited to see whatever Casey McQuiston comes out with next. Honestly, again, I don't know that this book deserves to be as low as number 7, but A Dangerous Collaboration by Deanna Raybourn. This is the 4th book in the Veronica Speedwell series. There is specifically a scene in this book that I think will forever stay in my mind. There's a few from the Veronica Speedwell series, which is pretty impressive with how many books I read. But there's this scene where Veronica is on a train with Stoker's brother, and there's like potentially something going on between Veronica and Stoker's brother in this beginning of the book. And Stoker doesn't know, like, Veronica and Stoker at this point in the series still are like, we're into each other, but we're definitely not going to say or act on it right now until the other one does it, because I have my pride, and if they shut me down, I'll never live it down. That kind of situation. And then, like, Stoker just appears on the train. I will forever just have that image in my mind. For some reason, in my brain, he's Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know why. Of just standing there being like, hey, brother, I see you. You're not putting your dick in her. That's my zone. Like, I feel like, and that's what makes me even more angry. I'm like, if we get to this series and they don't, like, just ham it out, I'm gonna be furious. Like, just super not okay. But, like, either way, I'm ready for book 5. It's in my shopping cart. I'm waiting to see if it'll ever go on sale. Probably not. I'll probably have to spend full pop because that's just how this always works. But, like, I always just seem to binge the whole existing series when the new one comes out of this series. So that's the game plan. I think it comes out in March. So I'm very excited for that. I feel like, I keep saying this, but, like, Descendant of the Crayon by Joanne Heat. This author got, like, gypped hard by her publisher for a debut author, woman of color, to release her debut, and the publisher, like, messed it up so badly. I feel, like, incredibly bad for this author. And then I read the book and I was like, the book is amazing. If you had done marketing properly, this could have done so incredibly well. And I wish it had, because I want a damn sequel with how everything ends in this. It's, maybe the author will, like, self-release it. I don't know. But, like, first of all, the cover is amazing. And just everything that this book... First of all, the cover is amazing. Second of all, the author did amazing pre-order swag. She did these beautiful character cards and then, like, a rose gold, like, metal bookmark. And, like, it was just, it was gorgeous. All of the artwork and all of the metalwork and everything was just beautifully done. And I've never had a metal rose gold bookmark be as a pre-order swag, and Canada included. Like, I was just so excited about that. But then the main female character being as strong as she is, and this whole, like, how her parents died and their origin story was so weird. And then, like, people lying nonstop to each other about, like, the borders, and just having their own interests rather than their country's interests. I'm just honestly so salty on behalf of the author for, like, things going down how they did. Because, like, I really, really wish more people would read this so I could get a sequel. Because, like, it was just such a good book 1 ending, such a hard standalone ending. You know what I mean? Right, into the top 5. Number 5 is going to Eve of Man by Giovanna and Tom Fletcher. I honestly think part of my love of this book is because, like, literally no one is talking about it. And it was fantastic. The entire premise of, like, there's only one woman alive left on Earth, basically, who has the possibility to procreate. So, like, population is just hope and pray, and this one can, like, recreate humanity, because we're gonna die out. Which, you know, is kind of gross when you think about it, of, like, well, who are they gonna procreate with? Like, there's just a bunch of questions there. But, then, like, I had an arc of this book, and I didn't actually read it, I think, until after it came out. But then I saw the physical copy in the store, and I still hadn't read the arc, but I was like, oh my god, it's so pretty. Because it's all gold, sparkly stuff, and then the Underdust deck is white with, like, the gold, like, person at the bottom and the person at the top in a maze, and I was like, oh crap, I have to buy it, don't I? Hopefully it's good. And then I was like, oh my god, these like, when I looked them up, I was like, Giovanna and Tom are, like, I mean, they're a couple, but, like, they have, like, they do a bunch of different things. They have a bunch of book sets. So I was like, no, that gives me faith. And I read it, and it's fantastic. And, I like the questions that it raised, but it doesn't come out as, like, you know, it talks a lot about, like, women's procreational rights, and I just loved all of the messages in it. Oh my god, why is my nose so itchy? Ooh. I am so excited for whenever book 2 comes out. I think it was supposed to come out originally like mid 2020, but I think she had another child, so they had to push it back a little bit. So hopefully whenever it does come out, it doesn't do a stupid cover change, because I don't think it sold like amazingly here, but it was fantastic, and I'm not going to stop talking about this book until more people read it. Spot number 4 goes to Sweet Black Waves, which I technically read like late last December. So like I missed it on all my lists. And honestly, probably like Wild Savage Stars could probably go on here. But like, this book is amazing. It hurt the damn feel, even though like I knew how it was going to end. There's no possible way this book could have ended in any other capacity. I knew where it was going from the get-go. As soon as the potion was introduced, you're like, oh crap. And the potion is introduced in like the 2nd chapter of this book. And then there's like this whole like pirate zombie situation, and then like the stupid potion comes into play. And I was like, oh god damn it. The sequel was amazing actually. But I think I still liked Sweet Black Waves a tiny bit more, just because of that, like, I got drawn into this even though I knew I shouldn't. Like, I feel like it's an impressive skill when an author is like very bluntly obvious up front of like, nothing good is going to come of you liking any of these characters, but I'm going to make you like them. And like, I feel like that's what happens in here. And now I'm like obsessed with Christina Perez. I am just so excited for Bright Raven Skies to see how this is supposed to end. I'm assuming it's going to be bloody and someone's dying at least. One of the main characters is gonna... I would be floored if we all got to the end alive. But like, Tristan's old retelling and underappreciated. You should all read Sweet Black Waves. It just messed with me. I think I stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning to finish it, and then I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Like, what the hell? Number 3 is going to Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is probably honestly a book where I was like, if I had known that how good it was, like going into it, people been like, oh, it's really good, then I probably would have put it like lower. But I feel like my love of this book comes from the fact that I'm like, literally no one had ever talked to me about this book. I hadn't seen any reviews anywhere. And then when I was like, oh, maybe I should like get the audiobook to listen along to it with, and like the reviews were like, meh, I was like, oh, that's not a good sign. And then I read it and I was like, all of you were wrong. I love finding a book where everyone is like, it's okay, or like, meh, it wasn't great. And then you read it and you're like, every one of you is wrong, and I'm gonna spend my life explaining to you why you're wrong. That's one of these situations. Another, like, this is a book where I have this vivid memory now of, because there's like neighborhood segregation and like magic, every kind of different community like run by like a powerful family that's all in the city kind of tied together, and they all have like different magical abilities. And there's a scene like right at the beginning, I think, where the main character is like running from guards or something like that when they have like a token that everyone wants, and all of the like shacks are like basically like falling apart like rotten wood, and that's how everything's built. But the magic ability, everyone there basically, it's telling their magic is like telling the wood that they're actually rock. So the rotting wood is like magically being like told like, you are the strength of a rock, so it won't fall down. So everything looks shitty, but it's all sturdy. And then someone turns off the magic and like everything crumbles. I just remember that so vividly, of like all of a sudden the rotten wood is rotten wood and it falls apart like rotten wood, right? Anyways, I love the magic in this so much. I love the cast. I love that we're doing this whole like having a magical token and everyone's after it sort of race. I'm definitely going to reread this before I pick up Shorefall, but this was just a blindside out of nowhere amazing read that I wish more people had read. And I just love the covers of this too, that with like the window and then something there, because I think Shorefall, it looks like there's a pirate that's blue, I think, on the cover. So I'm very excited to read that whenever it comes out. So excited. Book number 2. Spot number 2 is going to The Rook by Daniel O'Malley. This is another one that I read in like late December, so I think all of my lists were like put together by that point. I don't remember how I found it. I randomly found out about this book because I opened my Instagram one time and someone was doing like a prompt for some challenge, and they had a picture of The Rook, and I think the prompt was like an underappreciated book or something like that. And I read the bio and I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Like, it's like supernatural meets like modern times in like London. That's kind of weird. That sounds like something I'd be into. And then like my little shack bookstore actually had a copy in stock, and I was like, whatever, what the hell? And oh my god, I literally finished it I think like 2 days, and I ran back and was like, oh thank god they have Stiletto, and that's the sequel. And then I think I finished it in like 2 days or something like that. And then I like freaked out and was like, oh, I need the sequel. And then my store didn't have it. And I was kind of upset. And so then, but I looked and Book Outlet had it. So I think I read Stiletto in like January or something like that. Like I couldn't not read Stiletto. The book is just freaking amazing. It was honestly quite fresh read for me. I don't think I've read many books that are like this. Maybe there's a lot of like TV kind of like it, but like the whole like government agency but with supernatural aspects into it, and like also like sort of a heist running away. It's a very weird book. Like it makes me think of like if Supernatural met Monty Python, you know what I mean? Like that sort of a tone. It's weird but like fantastic. I don't know if this is a duology and it's done now, or if the author is just taking his time writing. I can't find any information anywhere. I know that they made The Rook into the first season, is out now. I don't know what happened to the show. I don't know if it got renewed or anything. The information of this series is just so, like, weirdly, like, non-existent. I don't know what to do with it. But The Rook. Amazing, amazing read. Definitely underappreciated. Everyone should read this. And my number one spot, even, like, when I expanded my list to 15 or anything like that, I just couldn't not put this book at my number one. It was, like, the easiest selection of everything, which is weird. The Kiss Quote by Helen Huang. I saw this book floating around for, like, a while, and I was like, whatever, it's a romance, that's just not my MO. And then I saw it was like a book of the month pick, and I was like, oh, they normally pick like some interesting stuff, and I'll look more into it. And then I looked at the reviews, and I was like, wow, like, people love this book. And then I had the Audible romance package, and it was on it, and I was like, no what, screw it. Like, I just want a quick read right now, sure. And I think I read this book in like 3 hours somehow. I have never consumed a book like this, and I think I've reread it like 3 times since, too, in this year. This was like an impressive debut. Like, it's really changed what I see when I look at romance. I'm also been looking into it more now just for work reasons, and seeing the shift in how romances are displayed to the public. When you look at covers, we have all those old like Harlequin mass markets with like shirtless men on them, and that's why we have all those funny library like shelf displays that are like men who lost their shirts, and it's all those like romances. But it's shifted in the last few years. Like when you look at like the cover of like Get a Life Chloe Brown, like The Kiss Quote and The Bride Test, anything that's a romance that's coming out now, they're books that are more like cartoony, that people are a little bit more comfortable carrying out in public, which is just an interesting shift that I've seen, that they're making themselves more easily like marketable and buyable to the general public. And I think just like The Kiss Quote has some amazing sexy scenes in it too, but like it also pulls on this like nostalgia feels, I think, of what's the Pretty Woman, of like taking a prostitute and like prettying them up. I feel like it plays up on that. There's a gender swap, and there's other reasoning for it, but like the characters are really good, the sex scenes are really good, and the representation in it, that was honestly what really piqued my interest when I looked on. I was like, oh, it's autism own voices. I don't think I've ever read a book with an autistic main character. Let's give it a go. So there's just so much about this book that I loved, and I don't think I ever thought I would put a romance book as my number one read of a year ever. But I feel like this offers like some good sexy times, but it offers an awful lot of other stuff too. I'm obsessed with Helen Huang now, and I've been more comfortable diving down that romance rabbit hole, and it's been helping me navigate what romances I think I'm going to like. So I've really zoned in on like the diversity aspect and like the feminism aspect of it. We have like The Kiss Quote, and like Get a Life Chloe Brown has chronic illness, black, plus size, and male domestic survivor representation in there. Then we have Bringing Down the Duke, which focuses on the suffragettes. And so I think I've always had this image in my mind of like romance as being like a bunch of like white people in the southern United States falling in love in a rich manor in a slave plantation. Like that's always been my image of it. So this is really kind of more about this new genre that I never really consumed before, and it just, there's a lot of positives about this book. So those were my favorite books of the year. Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorite reads were, if you loved or hated any of these titles especially. I will link all of these books in the description box down below. I will also link all of my social media. If you follow me, I will follow you back. Have a happy holidays, and yeah.